Mic check 1 2. Looks like it's picking up. This is Oddish, and also this is the new set, Wisdom of Sea and Sky, the Lugia and Ho-Oh set. This is the first time in a little while where I haven't had all the cards just got leaked, so they're out early, and I haven't had any exposure to them yet, other than the ones that were leaked a little sooner. So I'm going to be going through this list mostly blind, which also means that there's a possibility we're going to get to the end and there's like a trainer card that I didn't know about that's going to change my opinion on a lot of the previous cards. I think I've seen all the trainers, but I have no clue, actually. I've seen a lot. There are a few trainers like Jasmine that do affect the cards in this set, but I think we're just going to raw dog it. Um, 10 damage plus poison is better than 20 damage in almost all cases, unless you're fighting like a Arceus or something. Because the poison lingers even after you evolve into a Gloom or whatever. So this looks like a pretty good Oddish. I'm on a weird website that doesn't allow me to scroll easily through the cards, so I'm going to be constantly hitting escape and whatever to look at them. Other than that, it's a bog standard card. Not much to say about it. The art's really cute. I'm a huge Oddish enjoyer. Longtime fans know that Oddish is one of my favorite Pokemon. Um, like seeing this guy. I was unimpressed by the Blossom, which I have actually already seen because it was leaked. Gloom. I think we have a 30 damage for one energy Gloom, and I would much rather use that than this one. This one is unimpressive to me. I think didn't our previous Blossom use Leaf Step as his attack? Maybe it was a Lilligant or something like that. Cute art. Yeah, I think the middle Gloom that we got is probably better than this one though. I remember being impressed with that one. That being said, this one's 1 retreat cost, and I think that one was 2. I think all the previous Glooms were 2 retreat. So that's the little thing for this one. That's the little points. We got Blossom. This one I found very unimpressive. Flip 3 coins. This attack does 60 damage for each heads. This Pokemon is now confused. So there's already Tsarina, which does 3 coins for 50 damage per heads. And it only costs a single energy, and I think that card has more HP than this card. And also you have Mallow to potentially heal it to full HP. Tsarina looks a lot better than this, and then you don't have to worry about the confusion. I will say, and it's just the fact that you're attacking for 1 energy instead of 2, making it a lot more dangerous in the early game. I will say that um, the breakpoints of 60, 120, and 180 are all better than 50, 100, 150. Like, those are really nice numbers. 60 kills basics, 120 kills anything that's not a high HP EX, and 180 kills anything that's not Venusaur. So those are really, really nice numbers. They're better than Serena's numbers. Like, just, like, more, obviously it's more damage, but it's more damage in an impactful way. But Serena just looks like a better card than this. You want your stage 2 to be really good. And then, like, the confusion, you gotta run, like, a Pokemon Center Lady or Big Malasada. This is the first card, I think, that actually makes a good case for Big Malasada, which I think is just better than Lumberry, by the way. Like, Lumberry, they both cure any status once. Malasada can be used even if you already have a tool equipped, and also heals a little bit of HP at the same time. So Lumberry is just, I feel, utterly outclassed by Malasada. Um, oh, I guess I have nothing else to say about that. Tangela, Sleep Powder. Sleep is a good effect. 20 damage is not much. 2 energies is not impressive. I think all our Tangela, I think we have a Tangela that does 1 retreat cost. This one's 2. Tangela, once again, kind of expensive. Every time a new Tangela comes out, it's kind of pricey. I just want a Tangela that attacks with 1 energy, as I don't think that's a big request. I'm not impressed by any of the Tangelas currently in the game. We got a new Tangrowth. It's my first time seeing all these, so I gotta actually read them. 130 HP for stage 1 is a lot. This attack does 40 more damage for each energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. So they retreat for free. You're only doing 10. That's pretty weak. But this is quite interesting. Unfortunately, most of the game, the vast majority of cards in the game, have a retreat cost of 1. So this is usually going to be doing 50 damage for 3 energies. And it's nice if you can, like, even if it's like an Arceus that retreats for 2. I don't know why Arceus was the first thing I thought of when I thought of 2 retreat cost mons. Even if it's like an Arceus that retreats for 2, that's only 90 damage. That's really not that strong. I think this card, it's going to be bonkers against very particular things, but I doubt that it's going to be. It could like never be meta, unless there's just like I don't know the rest of the set, so maybe everything in the set has crazy high retreat cost. I mean, look how much damage it does to itself, right? So 160 plus 10, 170 damage to itself. That's pretty beefy. That's a lot of damage. When two Tangrowth users... I think the entire set is going to happen without two Tangrowth users ever running into each other. And this is a 3-diamond card. They consider it to be a good card, huh? I don't know about that. Scyther, old favorite of mine. Interesting card. I think this exists to be a prelude for Scizor, obviously. I haven't seen Scizor yet. 70 HP, 20 damage, colorless. Colorless is very telling. And then the fact that we're on a gold-silver... What's the other Scyther? It was a grass energy and 30 for 1. Yeah, you would definitely run this Scyther if you're going to run Scizor. And I don't think you would use the other one at all. Because I'm sure this Scizor is going to be like metal only. Or like even if it was metal colorless, you'd still just run metal in this Scyther. You wouldn't run grass metal or something like that. Pretty unimpressive card. I like the extra HP. It's kind of funny seeing Scyther as like a bog standard evolving basic because I don't really think about it like that. It's kind of better than that in the games. We got a new pincer, guillotine. A lot of HP. The attack is kind of expensive. Wasn't there a... No, it's Heracross that uses Berry. I don't think there's any cards tied to Pinsir. Yeah, I'm not too impressed by this Pinsir. It's not very impressive. There are a lot of cards that do 70 damage for 2 energies. Why are we doing 70 damage for 3? 2 retreat cost is also kind of annoying on a basic, and 90 HP really isn't that much. I don't see that card being used until they add Mega Pinsir. Chikorita. It's cute. I love it. I'm a big Chikorita stan. Bog standard card. Bayleaf. It's one of them 2 energy cards. I would expect that from a grass evolution line. Unfortunately, they always make the grass starters super energy hungry. A lot of HP is nice. 90 is a good number. It's better than 80 anyway. It's not crazy high or anything. 2 retreat cost is pretty annoying. And again, it's doing the same damage as Snivy, so that's not too great. Meganium. The card effect is pretty good. 80 damage is a lot. 3 energies is also a lot. This card effect is too good for 2 energies, but it's not really good enough for 3. It's one of those. You don't usually need to heal your bench Pokemon. It's nice, though. You know, being able to get them out of kill thresholds from Cyrus is nice. Or even potentially being able to prevent the opponent from Cyrusing them. 150 HP is pretty decent, you know. You put on the Leaf Cape and then you're at 180. Oh, you know, it's healing itself, isn't it? Okay, that makes it even better still. The fact that you're doing 80 damage and healing yourself for 20, and you have like 180 HP with a Leaf Cape, that's pretty good, I think. I think it's amazing. But then, you know, you got Erica too. It's just one of those cards. A lot of grass cards are just themed around healing, and I think that's kind of fun. I don't think this card is going to be that great, but it's spiritually very grass. Ladybug. It wouldn't be a Gen 2 without Ladybug. I think this card art is from the TCG. I feel like I recognize it. I think I've seen this Ladybug before. Bog standard evolving Mon. Ooh, we got the Primeape. We got Iron Fist Lady, and I'm sure. Looks playable. Doesn't look great. Unfortunately, cards like this, it's like a good card. You can use it to do your solo battles or whatever. You could even play it in competitive. But the problem is it's like it just stops here. Like it's a really good card in the first like 4 turns, and then after that it's kind of mediocre. You'd just rather be using like Rare Candy Tsarina or something like that than Ladian. Unimpressive. Decent, playable, but unimpressive. And I think it just doesn't have the potential that a lot of the we're going to need going forward. Hoppip. Big fan. Also a Hoppip enjoyer. Little HP is a little low. We've got a lot of basics in grass that are low HP. And that's especially annoying because what if it's just like the Ember Litten or Charmander or Salandit. There's all these like 30 damage fire cards now. Kind of scary to be a Hoppip enjoyer. Skiploom. This is like that one Gloom. The HP is a little low, but everything else about this card actually looks really good. Definitely playable. It all depends on Jumpluff, though. Your active Pokemon has no retreat cost. That's an absurdly good ability. 120 HP is very low for a grass stage 2. 60 damage for 1 energy is pretty good. This is a really, really good friend of Bear Candy. And quite a good card in general. It depends on what you're running it with. But a lot of grass mons have very high retreat costs, so this one I understand. The no retreat should apply to itself as well. I don't see why it wouldn't. So that's really nice being able to just free retreat around. It'd be funny too if you know you're running like a you run into a what's that Tangrowth and then it tries to use its thing on you, but you have no retreat cost because of Fluffy Flight, so you take 10 damage. Looks like a very decent card. Obviously, it doesn't power creep Skymin because Skymin works as a basic, and this one you have to evolve all the way into it, and it's a stage 2, so it's not easy. But the card effect is very good. There might be some. That one has potential to be meta in a very particular deck, but I don't know if such a deck will exist. Oh, Blot is better. There was like a Petalil with this exact attack, but it only did 10 damage, but this one does 20. This is what you need for a grass card. You need the 20 damage and the 10 HP. That being said, 40 HP is really garbage, but that's also very thematic for Sunkern because Sunkern has really, really low stats. I think it's the second lowest in the game besides Wishy Washy. Cute little guy. This is not a great card, but I do appreciate the power creep of Blot. Um, okay, I was just talking about how, there's all these 2 energy, 70 damage attackers, and here's one. We found one. It's not crazy. It's probably playable. I don't love that it's coming from such a low HP little guy, and it's kind of low HP itself. But the card attack itself is, it's okay. A new Yanma. Our previous Yanma was 1 colorless energy for 20 damage, and this one is teleport combined with a damage U-turn. Very thematic, very correct. Yanma would U-turn. And, U-turn is teleport plus an attack. Interesting. Yanma's main existence is to evolve into Yanmega, so we'll see how Yanmega fares. It's not amazing. 2 energies. I mean, I guess the point is that you can run it in any deck color. What are you doing with this? It's not even strong enough to kill a Oreo. You get 60 damage on it from your Yanmega EX deck? Yanmega EX is quite a decent card, I think. But this one looks very unimpressive to me. I do like the lightning weakness, is kind of cool. If these guys had like lower retreat costs, that'd be better, I feel. Maybe, I don't know. The whole point is that you can slot it into any deck color, like the other Yanma. But how much do you really need this in other deck colors? What does that let you kill? Pineco, or perhaps Pineco, depending on who you ask. Not an amazing card. I don't see a what's that little bagworm guy? Fortress. I don't see a Fortress here, so it must be a metal type. They would never add Pineco, but not Fortress. So that's why this guy's colorless, is so he can evolve into a metal type. Shuckle. There he be. Any Shuckle enjoyers? Solid Shell. This takes minus 20 damage from attacks. Very thematic. Shuckle has crazy high defense. Triple Slap. Flip 3 coins. This attack does 20 damage for each heads. This is our first chance to look at an EX card from this set. Solid Shell is obviously quite good. 120 HP is going to be functionally a lot higher because of that. The more hits you have to kill this thing, the more that HP is really going to be. And it's going to be invincible in the early game when things are just hitting it for 20. The attack is not great. It is very cheap, but it's not great. Average damage 30. That's really, it's weak, but it's bulky. That's what you would expect from Shuckle. We've already had some early game grass tanks. I immediately picture Executor, but there are others. Honestly, Leafeon counts. This one is a lot more passive. It probably is a lot more bulky most of the time. Depends on what you're fighting. But like most things are going to take a while to kill this. Probably won't be able to efficiently kill it until like turns 7 or 8 or something. And that's a lot of time for you to stick energies onto stuff, and it doesn't need much energy itself. This only needs the 1 energy, and then every energy after that is like supporting your bench. So it does look like it enables very slow grass cards, which is one of the biggest weaknesses of grass, is that it has a lot of slow cards that are not easily enabled. So that's something. Heracross, theoretically it works with Berry, but actually it doesn't work with Berry because Berry cancels the two colorless energies from the attack cost, and this doesn't have any colorless energies in the attack cost. So you do legitimately need to get two grass energies on it to attack. Um, 40 damage, but 80 damage if you're at full HP. That pairs nicely with Erica. It pairs nicely with healing cards in general. I would run this with like potions and obviously with Erica. Decent card. 80 damage for two energies on a basic with 90 HP is actually pretty damn good. I can't lie. Only 40 after that is pretty unimpressive. And you'll be able to keep this thing healthy forever. Mon's attack. Like you just run into a Darkrai and then what? How are you supposed to stay healthy against something like that? You know, it's an interesting idea though. I like it. I think it's a cool little card, and you can just easily build it up on the bench. So it's not even just an early game card. You could have it as a mid game card pretty well. 80 damage is still pretty nice. Kirby and Fruitsiastic. This Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached. Attacks used by this Pokemon cost one less energy, so it can attack for free. Because you can put on a turn. You can put on a tool turn one. Um, so you could get heads and go first, and then just put your Leaf Cape on this guy to get it to a reasonable HP value, and then just use Sweets Relay, and it's free. Also, Sweets Relay. So we got another Sweets Relay user. That's quite nice. I'm happy to see that. I thought they would just. I didn't. I was afraid they would just retire that immediately. I hope they keep making Sweet Relay Mons for the next at least two expansions. I want to see that get kind of more expanded. This is a grass one that requires a grass energy, so it's a new friend for Appleton, I suppose. Most Sweets Relay decks actually did not use Appleton and used exclusively water energies. But this guy being able to get an extra Sweets Relay off that the opponent cannot prevent is actually a pretty big deal. Because that's 40 extra damage in the end game as well from your, what was the little cake guy? Cherim is not a Sweets Relay Mon. That's a bit disappointing. That's actually super disappointing. It's a cute card though. It's a very unimpressive card. If this was a Sweets Relay card, I could actually see it changing the meta. But I wouldn't run Cherubi just to get an extra Sweets Relay. Maybe I would. Yeah, because you don't even need to run Grass Energy with this. Actually, you could still just run this in pure Water, as long as you can get a tool onto it. Just put 4 tools in your deck. You probably wouldn't run Leaf Cape with this though, because you'd be running a bunch of non-Leaf Mons. So I guess you'd run like regular Cape, Poison Barb, or maybe one of the new tools. That's it for Grass. Vulpix, Live Coal. Okay, finally we have a new Vulpix that doesn't have 50 HP. Ninetales has been a pretty good card for a long freaking time. Most people don't run it anymore. Most people haven't even run it since Space Time Smackdown came out. Um, but one of the big weaknesses of Ninetales, it's a pretty damn good card even today, but one of the big weaknesses is that Vulpix doesn't attack and also has only 50 HP, so it's kind of a sitting duck. Now we've got a slightly bulkier one, and I'm happy to see that, even though the card is very shrug besides that. We have a new Ninetales. It works with Blaine. That's kind of fun. Going to 150 damage with Blaine. You probably would run Blaine with this. The attack is pretty damn expensive, and the attack effect is pretty damn annoying. Um, you don't have to discard any energies, which is nice. You could really run this with Moltres if you wanted to. This would be a very reasonable thing to run with Moltres. Just get Moltres, get some heads, and then if you get at least 2 heads, you can play Ninetales next turn, like Leaf out into it or something. And then, breathe on the opponent for 120 damage pretty early. I don't see this outside of a energy acceleration deck. You could run it with Flareon too. Flareon works for energy acceleration now. Might be good. I don't know. Probably not. Cyndaquil. It's cute. Nothing to say about that card. Bog standard card. Quilava. Bog standard evolution. Very good. Very good evolution. The 30 damage for 1 energy evolutions are usually pretty awesome. I would run that. Typhlosion. I saw this one earlier. This is a good card. The Fire Breath can be used from the bench. So it's like Grafaiai, but way better, basically. Grafaiai poisons on a coin flip. This just burns straight up. And burn is a good status ailment. 20 damage, and you don't even care if they flip heads. Well, you kind of care. You lose 20 damage. But you can just do it again next turn. The attack is not horrible either. 60 damage for 2 energies. Okay, it's a bit horrible for a stage 2, but the fact that you're also getting the burn damage for 80, potentially 100, that's that's pretty good. This Mon's ability makes it very legitimate in my eyes. You could even run it in an off-color deck if you wanted to. Definitely a good card. I think this one you could build decks around this. Slugma. Big fan of Slugma. Fun fact, this Mon actually doesn't appear anywhere in Johto. You have to catch it in Kanto. That makes no sense. I don't know why they did it like that. There's like 4 different evolutionary lines like that in Gen 2, where you have to catch them in Kanto. I think Sneasel's on Mount Silver, isn't it? Or maybe Sneasel's in the Ice Cave or something. I don't remember. Sneasel's late game. I think it's on Mount Silver. It's in the post game. I think Larvitar's also in the post game, but I think both of those are in Johto. I don't remember. There's just some that you have to catch, in the back half of the game, and it's stupid. 2 retreat cost is pretty annoying. 30 damage for 2 energies is not very good at all. 70 HP is kind of nice. Very unimpressive card. I like the other Macargo a lot, so this one better impress me. One other Pokemon, either yours or your opponent's, is chosen at random 3 times. For each time a Pokemon was chosen, do 50 damage to it. This is an utter chaos card. I like it a lot, actually. This is fun. If you have... It says one other Pokemon, which seems to indicate that Macargo cannot target itself. So it's, like, as good as Wugtrio if you only have Magcargo and nothing else. But then the nanosecond you have something else, it's like almost as bad for you as it is for the opponent. It's like not a good card at all because you can just kill your own Mons. If you're running a bunch of really high HP stuff, it might be alright. I can't think of what would work well with this. It looks very chaotic. It looks like just like a little insurance card if things are going wrong. You just like go with this instead of whatever you were going to do before. And the randomness is also very annoying. We got our first baby, Magby. I know there's like every single baby introduced in Gen 2 is in this set. Toasty Toss, this one was leaked. Take a fire energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your benched basic Pokemon. Alright, a lot to say about this. First of all, Farfetch stocks on the rise. Farfetch plus Giovanni is going to kill this thing through a cape, and Farfetch is just going to kill it in general. Farfetch is probably going to be a pretty decent card for the early expansion here, because I think a lot of people are going to be trying to run the babies. If you kill a baby in this game, you do get a point. Nothing indicating that you don't. No weakness is no big deal. No retreat cost is extremely good, actually. You want to try and keep this thing alive, but, you're definitely afraid of, like, Sabrina. You're guaranteed to get 1 attack off, which is fun. You don't even need to attach an energy. That symbol, I think it's our first time seeing this in the Pocket, but it's used in the trading card game proper. It just means it's free. It's a free attack. So there's nothing preventing you from attacking on turn 1. So you can flip heads, play this guy down, and still just use its thing immediately. And that gives you, like, it gives you the energy advantage, which you normally only have if you go second. And then also, if the opponent can't kill you on the second turn, which, very real possibility they can, but if they can't, you get to do that again, or you get to retreat and deny them the point. So, looks playable. Energy acceleration is valuable. This is a very, very dangerous way of doing energy acceleration. It's like Manaphy, but even more, like, risky, I guess. And the energy's only a single target. I think it's probably decent. I think it's probably playable. But it's scary. It's very likely to just give your opponent a point. But being able to get that extra energy at the cost of a point could be valuable. Entei. Flip a coin of tails, discard 2 random energies from this Mon. There are a few cards. There's a new supporter that makes it so your next flip is heads. And there are certain cards that seem obviously designed to work with that card. This HP is decent. This attack cost is horrendously bad. It is really, really bad how expensive this attack is. And then discarding 2 energies makes it way worse. But if you don't have to discard energies, it's playable. I think you could run this alongside Moltres. I wouldn't run this otherwise. I mean, you could run it with Magby or Flareon as well, but Moltres is going to be the most stable of those. And I guess you would run it with Will. It's probably not great. That's what I'm going to say. It's probably not great. If you're lucky, it's probably okay. The damage output is legitimately good, but 110 kind of misses a lot of important breakpoints. It'll kill most non-EX mons, including itself. How about EX? There's been a lot of discussion about this little guy. This is probably going to be the most played EX card. I don't know whether it's going to be the best. I think it's just going to be the most played. 3 energies is quite expensive. 80 damage is not great for 3 energies. It is a basic. It does have very high HP. 150 for a basic is really good. Um, Take a fire, water, and lightning energy from your energy zone and attach them to your bench basic Pokemon any way you like. I had never actually noticed that you could actually apply this to several different mons. This is in any way you like makes it sound like it's like Moltres where you can just stick them anywhere. Um, Quite good of an effect. Getting 3 extra energies is crazy. There are so many mons that this just enables instantly. One that people really like to bring up is Drudagon, which requires 3 energies, and 2 of them are, what, fire and water, I think? Fire, water, colorless, I'm pretty sure. This allows Drudagon to attack instantly once you attack with it. The really obvious pairing is Lugia, which needs all 3 of these energies and also discards all 3 of them. So every time you use this, Lugia gets another ammo to do its own attack. So Ho and Lugia are going to be used together. But this is just a good card with a lot of different things. This enables a lot of different cards to work. Um, I I don't remember. There were a lot that I was seeing. People were coming up with some kind of zany strats. It's like, oh, it works with like colorless mons, for example. You know, you could use this on your Snorlax EX or something like that. So there's some potential there. Arceus. The Arceus is a really good friend of this because Arceus just becomes fully set up in one turn. 3 energies to attack is kind of annoying. This thing's high retreat cost is also kind of annoying. You can't easily go into Lugia without this thing dying. You can just retreat, but then it's basically, you know, if he gets Sabrina or Cyrus back in, it doesn't have enough energies to attack, and then if it already took some prior damage, you know, maybe it could just easily be killed. 80 damage does mean it's not just like, it's not purely being a battery. It can represent a level of threat as well. I think it's a good card, and I think people are going to be playing it a lot. But we'll have to see what the good friends are. I think Arceus is very likely. I think Lugia is probably good enough to work. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to be meta. Darumaka. I think we already have one of these. I haven't thought about this mon in a while. Gen 5 mon, love it. That appears to be real grass, but I could be wrong. Little clay Darumaka in the center. Bad looking card. 70 HP is kind of nice though. Darmanitan. Good friend of Magby anyway. Not very impressive. 2 retreat cost is kind of annoying. The HP is really good. The damage is not very impressive. Probably not playable. Heatmore. A new Heatmore. I like our previous Heatmore. If the opponent's burned, this does 60 more damage. That's a great effect, and that pairs really well with the Typhlosion. But without the Typhlosion, this is a horrible card. I do like it, though. Looks decent. 90 damage for 2 energies, plus 20 damage from burn is great, actually. The problem is merely running this, you're going to occasionally be forced to leave with it, and it's not a very impressive card if you're forced to leave with it. You'd have to run this like with Leaf, and that's annoying. You won't always get like your other cards ready. But those are all 1 knockout point mons, so if you have a Heatmore that dies into a Typhlosion that's now fully set up into a Heatmore that's alive, you know, that's nice. I think there's some potential there. I think Heatmore Typhlosion is a deck that you could run. Very obvious synergy. Poliwag, my beloved, another one of my favorites. Looks like it's knitted. Bog standard card. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another. There's like 5 other cards that are exactly like this. Poliwhirl. That's nice. Wave Splash. 30. It's a good card. 90 HP and the 1 damage. They're 1 energy, 30 damage attack. That's quite good. Politoed. This one's pretty funny. I saw it earlier. Someone leaked it. As long as this Pokemon is in your bench, attacks used by Pokemon that evolve from Poliwhirl do plus 40 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. I couldn't help but notice there's no Poliwrath in this set, which means that this little guy is just powering up the previous Poliwrath, which most people probably never used, or other Politoed. There can only be one other mon that evolves from Poliwhirl because you can only have 2 Poliwhirls. You can only have 2 Poliwags. So, like, you have to get a stage 2 and then have this guy who is another stage 2 on the bench, which is just usually not going to happen. And if it's another Politoed, they're just doing 100 damage for 2 energies, which is a lot, but you need so many cards. Like, maybe you could do Politoed times 2 and Leafeon EX time, or not Leafeon, Sylveon EX times 2. Or like, what's that little guy? The Shiinotic times 2. Just try and get all of your cards as fast as possible. For what? For 2 energies for 100 damage? Like, that's good, but it's not crazy. And then once your first Politoed goes down, the other one's only doing 60. Yeah, I'm not super impressed. Horsey, hook, like a punch? Like that kind of hook? How's it doing that? It has no arms. 50 HP is not great. 30 damage is actually awesome. This is definitely a playable card. Seadra. Um, I would probably run one of the others. No, there's only one other Seadra, isn't there? It's the one that does 50 damage to bench mons but costs 3 energies. That's probably better than this one, actually. This one's playable, though. It's close. They're close in viability. 50 damage for 2 energies is not very good, but this even being here means Kingdra's here. There it is. It's an EX card. Stormy Prison. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. Very good friend of Rare Candy here. 2 energies is cheap enough that Rare Candy lets you kind of use it earlier than you should. And 170 HP is a ton. Rare Candy getting you to that HP threshold is very valuable. 90 damage, and the no retreat effect is quite good. I've used a lot of Arbok in my day. A little bit of Houndoom too. Not so much the other two. What is it? Sableye and Delmise? Delmise EX, usually considered to be the worst EX card. Delmise EX being bad would make you think that this is not a good card effect, but this is a good card effect. The only problem with Delmise is how slow it activates. Yeah, so bringing your opponent to a mon that's not set up and then just Stormy Prisoning them over and over sounds very strong. Not a super powerful card, but being able to get repeated 90s on something that can't necessarily defend itself is pretty nice. The opponent doesn't have that option of like retreating. They gotta like let something die. Probably playable. Water was in a really bad place last set. Everything else accelerated faster than water did. Or power creep faster than water did. We got a new Magikarp. Splashing Dodge. Flip a coin of heads during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. That's definitely better than the flop Magikarp. The pure power creep there. Actually just straight up like pure power creep. The first Magikarp we got was 10 damage with no card effect, and 30 HP and 1 retreat cost. Everything else was the same, but this one just has the chance of negating damage. This is just a better Magikarp than the Apex Legends one. I would probably still consider running the Island one, which allows it to leave the field, guaranteed. Well, rather move to your bench. But you know, being able to avoid the single most important thing about Magikarp is that it survives. So a card that negates damage is valuable. That one works even if you... It works half the time, but it works even if you don't have any bench mons. Wild Swing. You may discard any number of benched water Pokemon. This attack does 40 more damage for each benched Pokemon you discarded this way. So obvious synergy with Fishing Net, whatever it's called. And then obvious synergy with the new Fisherman trainer that I know about. Fisherman flips 3 coins, and for every heads you draw a water Pokemon from your discard pile. So this allows you to kind of refill your bench after swinging everything away with this card. So you could have a very easy... Already with Magikarp, you want to run a large number of basics, so you're not forced to leave with Magikarp. And then this also benefits from having a large number of basics, because you can just throw them away, even if you don't have the Fisherman or the Net or whatever. Or even if you like get bad flips on the Fisherman, or even if you don't draw the Fisherman to the Net. Like, you can still just have a lot of basics that you can flop away. 60 damage for 2 energies is already usable, especially on a 130 HP Mon. That's if you discard a single Watermon. 100 damage for discarding 2 is quite good. 140 damage for discarding 3 is awesome. That's a ton of damage for 2 energies. It's something that you could potentially set up very quickly, as early as turn 4. 3 retreat cost is quite high. There was something else I wanted to say about this. What was it? 20 damage is pretty damn low, I can't lie. This looks like a really good card to me, though. But it works well with, like, water basics. So what are you going to run with it? Stuff like Palkia? You need, like, good water basics. Because you can't... If you run too many evolution cards, you're not going to be able to get more basics. And you need something that can just, like, hit the field immediately. Be ready to be discarded. Oh, I was going to say that discarding a benched Watermon could actually be very useful if it's really wounded. That way, if you discard it, the opponent doesn't have the ability to Cyrus it back in, and they can't get the point from it. So, interesting synergy there. Interesting concept. This looks like a very good card. You could definitely build decks around this. And it's a 3 diamond. Totodile, my beloved. Look at him go. He looks like Quap. Bog Standard Evolving Mon. Croconaw. Looks pretty good. 2 retreat cost is kind of annoying. 2 energies I can live with. 90 HP is good. I'm fine with that. For Alligator, I saw this card. I was like, yeah, this one got leaked as well. Discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. That's just good. That's just a good effect. That's like Gyarados from Genetic Apex. But this one is better because it's cheaper. The damage is really nice too. 150 HP is great. 90 damage is good. The fact that the energy costs so high is actually a lot more acceptable because of the fact that you're discarding energies from the opponent. Meryl. Where's my Azurill? Did I mention during Magby that he can't evolve? He's got to be a little baby forever. He could only evolve into a Magmar that's a stage 1 Magmar, and all existing Magmars are basics. Tackle? You know, it's weak. This is not a pure power Meryl. This is like a Sapsipper Meryl or something. Oh, it's a thick fat. Canonically thick fat. This Pokemon takes minus 30 damage from fire or water mons. That is a very picky effect. I've never been a huge fan. The attack is kind of weak for the energy cost. But 110 HP with the 30 damage mitigation. This is going to be really good against those 2 particular decks. Really good strong. It's going to be kind of good against those particular decks. There's nothing saying the ability doesn't work on the bench either, which is cool. Wooper. Rain Splash. We have a few of those now, Rain Splash Mons. Nice Clovers. We got another Wooper in the shot. 2 more, actually. Perspective's a little bit confusing, but whatever. It feels like those lily pads must be huge. Not amazing. Quagsire. Not amazing. The retreat cost is really high. HP's good for a stage 1. I would rather run Abomasnow. And I would not even run that. But I would rather run it than this. Abomasnow has the 2 energies if you run it with Arceus, and Arceus is a decent mon to run anyway. We got Quillfish. It's decent. 20 damage with a poison effect. If they add Overquill, this would be a good card, but I don't think they will. It's a mon that Game Freak probably pretends doesn't exist. Corsola and some Oran Berries. That's a good card effect. Put a random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. I'm not going to act like that's bad. That's quite useful. Being able to draw out your deck is inherently very powerful. I would not run that just for that. This does not look like a good enough card to justify that. If this card evolved into something, then it would probably be really good. But it doesn't. The fact that this only exists to find friends until it dies is pretty mediocre, I think. We've got other drawing cards now. You don't have to use that one. Remoraid. Water Gun. That's the most appropriate move for this mon to use since it is literally a water gun. Box Standard Evolving Basic. Octillery. Believe it or not, this evolves from Remoraid. If the defending Pokemon tries to use an attack, your opponent flips a coin. If tails, so the attack doesn't happen. This effect lasts until the defending Pokemon leaves the active spot and it doesn't stack. That's very wordy. So it's basically a better version of Smokescreen from Genetic Apex Weezing, or the other Weezing. Island Weezing. 50 damage is pretty mediocre, especially for 2 energies, but that effect is supremely annoying. Especially because Octillery can leave the field, and, like, the effect is still there. This is just like a permanent... It's like Confusion the opponent can't get rid of without retreating, which is, I guess, already how Confusion works. But they can't, Big Malasada it away, or, like, Pokemon Center Lady it away. They've got to actually retreat. I think this is a really annoying card. I don't think it's that good, but I think it's really annoying. Delibird, my beloved. Stumbling draw a card. See, I'd rather have this than the freaking Corsola. Because, first of all, it's doing damage. Second of all, it's drawing any card, so it works in any kind of deck. Sometimes it's better to draw Pokemon. Sometimes it's better to draw cards in general. I like this, though. I would run this, maybe. Probably not. I'd rather have Manaphy sticking energies on things than, like, you know, card effects like that. Dive. That attack effect is just way too this attack is way too expensive. If this was 3 energies, it would already be shaky. But the fact that it's 4 energies is really bad. 100 HP is good for a basic, but 2 retreat cost, and that energy cost for the attack is just crazy high. I would not run this. This looks horrible. Suicune. During your opponent's next turn, attacks used by the defending Pokemon do minus 20 damage. That's quite good. 100 HP is good. That card effect is decent. 70 damage for 3 energies is pretty bad. Well, it's not bad, but it's not good. This is playable. I don't think it's that impressive. But I do like those damage mitigation effects. I know they added a lot in Metal this expansion. Corphish, it's cute. Why is it so sad? Vice Grip, but they spelled it correctly this time. That move was classically misspelled in the first like 7 gens of Pokemon. Cardant. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. That sounds like it works even if you're evolving a bench Corphish, so that's pretty cool. It's kind of funny to if you evolve another Crawdont in the same turn. It says once during your turn, but if you evolve another Crawdont, that's that Crawdont's ability and not this Crawdont's ability. So I feel like it should still work. So why does it? And you could only evolve this one time anyway. It's very awkward phrasing. I don't think once during your turn should even be written there. That does look like a good card effect, and it functionally makes this a cheaper attack because you can easily. I haven't been thinking about Misty with all these water cards, but like the high energy cost of water cards is made a lot better by Misty. I feel. Not amazing, but I think this is actually playable just because that ability is so nice. That ability could come in clutch even in any scenario because you can choose when you evolve it if it's benched. But if you're just evolving it to start attacking with Crab Hammer, you feel a lot better. If you're like, leading with Crawdon, what was it? It was attacking for 2 energies. That's not great. Using your evolution to make the opponent take 1 extra turn to reach their attack cost sounds kind of good. I don't know. We got a new Ducklet. Looks not amazing. I think the other Ducklet attacked for 2, which was not very good. Swanna. Move all energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. This is a pretty funny card. This is one of the ones that was revealed way earlier. It might have been in the trailer or something. I don't know. I remember seeing it a while ago, like a week ago. 60 damage for 2 energies is workable. And then it has a retreat cost of 0. It's kind of awkward. Like, if you're setting up a really strong Watermon that needs a ton of energies, you can just lead with this and then get the attack off and then, retreat into the Watermon you're going into once you have the extra energies onto it. There's probably a good ally for that, but I don't know what the hell it would be. Very awkward if this thing dies, but it probably shouldn't early on. It being a stage 1 is quite awkward. I think the really awkward thing about this card is that you don't have a choice on whether you move the energies, so that means it can only attack once every 2 turns, unless you play like a Dawn or something, which you're not going to do. That's all the water cards. Chincho. 70 HP is good, 10 damage is bad. Lantern EX. One of our EXs is a Lantern. That's a well picked one. This is one of the most beloved mons from Gen 2, believe it or not. Flip a coin. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed if heads. If tails, your opponent's now confused. I like that card effect a lot. Paralysis is really busted. Confusion is supremely annoying, but not broken. That's a really nice card effect. 3 energies is appropriate for a card effect that good. And 150 HP is actually pretty high. Your retreat cost is annoying, though. This looks definitely playable. This looks really annoying. I can see this being a decent card. Interesting to have a slow electric card for once. I feel like we've had a lot of fast ones recently. Pichu. I would probably prefer Pachirisu to this. I could be crazy. Pachirisu's easier to save. This thing is going to die. Pachirisu, I ran Pachirisu deck for a long time. 2 different Pachirisu decks. And it's actually very feasible to prevent your Pachirisu from dying. This thing is going to die every time. This thing's either going to die on turn 2, when the opponent puts on their 1 energy and one-shots it somehow, or it's going to die on turn 4 because you spent 2 turns attaching energies to stuff. Could be good. There's a lot of mons. Like this enables a turn 3 Pikachu EX. The first one, the Genetic Apex one. That's no joke, right? That's no joke. What else does this enable? There must be some really obnoxious cards this allows. What's that? We have like a Galvantula. Galvantula works with this. That's pretty funny. That card has guaranteed paralysis, but has to discard all its energies and needs 2 to attack. So you can go from that into this, and then, you know, just get the energy back onto Galvantula. Mareep, very, very beloved Gen 2 Mon. One of the most beloved. Very cute. Big fan. Flaffy, 50 damage is good. I say that's nice. 90 HP is good. 2 retreat cost is a little high. Ampharos, 150 HP is quite a lot, especially for an electric Mon, which usually have very low HP. Thunder Punch for a coin of attack. If heads this attack does 40 more damage. 120 for 2 energies is really good. If tails this Pokemon also does 20 damage to itself. There were a lot of cards like this in the early TCG, like the tabletop TCG. I don't know if there still are. I didn't follow it. This is like the early Electabuzz or whatever. That power is really nice. Hurting yourself is manageable when you have that much HP. But healing is not so easy for an electric card. Probably decent. Probably not amazing. 120 for 2 energies is crazy. Averaging 100 for 2 energies is still crazy. 80 damage for 2 energies is acceptable. Even at the worst case scenario, your damage output is still acceptable. Hurting yourself is kind of annoying, though. Probably playable. Probably playable. Elekid, it's the same card as... no, it's not. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So it specifies bench specifically. 20 is a very disappointing number, and you can't power that up because even when you run Red or Giovanni or stuff like that, it doesn't do bonus damage to bench Mons, only active Mon. So this is just capped at 20. So it's still going to take 2 of these to kill a fossil or another baby. And it's going to take more than that to kill almost anything else. It does set up Cyrus. That's the one nice thing I will say about this. Otherwise, it looks like a very unimpressive card. I wouldn't run this. I wonder how long it'll take before Pokemon TCG just ruins the entire meta by introducing a baby that locks the opponent out of item cards or whatever it is. Who is it who does that? A Petalil or something? There's like a tabletop card that's just bonkers because it does that. 90 HP, 70 damage, Raikou, by the way. Does 20 damage to itself. 90 HP with the 20 damage negative effect is pretty bad. 70 damage for 2 energies is decent and no better. It's nice because it's not an evolving Mon. It's just ready to do that right out the gate. But I don't love this card, if I'm being 100% honest. It looks like it has too little HP. That's the thing I'm going to say about it. Or too little damage. One of those two. Emolga, another one of these. I think we had a 30 damage for 1 energy. And this is 40 damage for 1 energy, but you damage one of your bench Mons, thus setting it up for Cyrus. Probably looks better than the other one. Actually looks quite decent. 40 damage for 1 energy, and electric is a very good type for hitting weaknesses because most colors have Mons that are weak to electric. Playable. Not going to be meta defining or anything, but definitely playable in electric decks. Slowpoke. You're now asleep, heal 30 damage. It's cute. We got Slow King. This attack does 30 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So we got another Psychic user. This one ramps pretty nicely, but the initial damage is pretty bad. So the opponent could actually like make this card useless by setting up bench Mons while you're just doing 10 damage to the opponent's active Mon. So that's you really wish Psychic had. You'd actually prefer if this was doing like 40 damage with like a 20 damage per energy or something like that. In most cases, Psychic's whole gimmick is that it lets you kill like supremely set up Mons. So if the opponent has 1 energy, you're doing 40. That's good. If the opponent has 2 energies, you're doing 70. That's actually really good. Well, it's what you would expect for this level of power. And then 100 for 3 energies. Probably rarely will you be hitting things with more than 3 energies with this. Like, sure, you'll be able to kill a Selby with 5 energies or whatever in 1 hit. Or even 4. Smoochum, I didn't even know about this baby being in the game. Shivery Wave, that has the sound of an ice move, but it's Psychic Smoochum. 20 damage for each energy attached to the opponent's active Pokemon. So I kind of prefer that to the Slowking. Like that, this one does less damage, but it does it for free. It's kind of interesting. The little insurance card. It's not very powerful though. Even if the opponent has 4 energies, you're doing 80. Doing it for free though is kind of cool. Being able to attack with turn 1 on turn 1 with this guy, or being able to attack on turn 2 with it, is utterly pointless. It's very interesting to have this card. This is not. This is like the first baby we've seen that's not designed to be purely early game. This is actually like a late game baby. But I think the use cases are just going to be way lower than something like Espeon or any of the gazillion other psychic types. Tapu Lele would be much better than this little guy. I don't know. I'm not super sure. We got a new Jinx. Doesn't evolve from the Smoochum. It's a basic. You can just play it. Attract, Smack. Flip a coin if heads your opponent's active Pokemon is not paralyzed. Paralysis is the single best status in the game. Coin flip is what you would expect for an attack like that. 30 is not amazing. Honestly, like even if the paralysis procs, like what, you get to attract Smack again. Now you're doing 60 total. That's not very impressive. Not super impressed by that card. Cleffa. Put a random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. This is quite powerful. I can see people running this. This will be used in Psychic decks. Could be used alongside Shiinotic even. Just being able to draw out your deck as fast as possible is very valuable. You can use it with Sylveon or Sylveon EX. The annoying thing about it is it doesn't evolve. So Sylveon doesn't benefit, doesn't get the power up from having this. But I think it's still going to be a pretty good card. Especially because you can run alongside Sylveon EX. Togepi. This is not a baby, amusingly, despite being the literal poster child of baby Pokemon. But we already had Togepi, and it was already not a baby, so I understand. During your opponent's next turn, attacks used by the defending Pokemon do minus 20 damage. That's, you know, it helps you survive. It's not very valuable. Togetic. I think our other Togetic was doing, like, 30 for 1 or something, or 40 for 1. It was, like, way better than this. This one has more HP, I think. But I'd rather run the other one. Togekiss. What's her face? Cynthia should work with this card. If any damage is done to this Pokemon by attacks, flip a coin if heads prevent that damage. That is an absurdly good ability. Magical Shot 70 for 3 is not amazing, but 3 damage, or 120 damage if you play Cynthia makes it a lot better. 140 HP is quite good. This, you could absolutely build a deck around this. That ability is absolutely crazy good. Especially if, you know, the opponent has like some kind of detrimental effect on their attack, like it's a fire mana has to discard energies, like, and then they don't even get to do damage. This looks definitely playable. I would definitely run this. It looks probably better than the other Togekiss, although it's not. It's a close shave. Close margin. Natu. I hate this art. It's bog standard evolving mon. It's got a little bit less HP than normal. Xatu. People were discussing this one a lot. Flip a coin if heads your opponent's active Pokemon is remaining HP is now 10. So this is your attack, therefore it ends your turn, so the opponent, you know, still gets to do something. There's a couple of things to consider for this. First of all, even if they retreat to the bench, you can potentially, if you have any mon that hits the bench, for example, Tapu Lele, that could be really good to just knock something out after you reduce it to 10 HP. There's the possibility they can heal. If you get them down to 10, they use like a Pokemon Center Lady or an Erica or a Nirita or something like that. So it's not guaranteeing a kill. If the opponent is already poisoned, for example, you know, you got Poison Barb on something, or like Weezing even, you run Weezing alongside this, I don't know. And then, you know, you get this off and the opponent then dies to poison damage. It's kind of good, being able to one-shot anything in the game as long as it's poisoned. Kind of good. It is tied to a coin flip, but everyone is talking about using this alongside Will, the card that forces heads. Really good there. Being able to do X number of damage, it's their full health minus 10 or whatever, their current health minus 10, is inherently very powerful. You run it alongside Greninja if you wanted to. It does require 2 psychic energies, so whatever you run it with has to be able to... You're running with 2 psychic energies is pretty annoying. It makes it difficult to run it in a dual type deck, because there's a very good chance that you're going to have like Psychic Water or like 2 Waters if you're running it with like Psychic Water with Greninja. Not super impressive. Definitely a playable card though. We're going to see... This is probably not going to be showing up in ranked, but this is probably going to be all over the place in like the casual matches. Espeon EX, this is one of the ones that was revealed very early in the trailer. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active slot, you may hit 30 damage from one of your Pokemon. So it's an infinite use, Pokemon Center Lady, as long as it's alive. And then it's an evolution, so you can use the EV Bag with it. You can make its attack 90 or 100 if you use two of them, and you can heal it with EV Bag as well. I don't think there's anything else to this. Definitely looks good. It's a new ally for Sylveon EX. They already run like Psychic decks with that. New ally for regular Sylveon. Definitely a playable card. Psychic EV decks just got better. That's all I got to say about this. Guard. There's two unknowns. Wait, yes, exactly two unknowns. I knew they were both here. This ability works if you have any unknown in play with any ability other than guard. All of your Pokemon take minus 10 damage from attacks to your opponent's Pokemon. So this is designed to just sit on the bench. 20 damage is better than 10 anyway. 60 HP is pretty bad and it doesn't evolve. But permanently reducing damage by 10 is pretty cool. But you have to run it you have to have two unknowns up, which is kind of annoying. Because you can only have two unknowns in your whole deck. This ability works if any unknown other than power. Attacks used by opponent do plus 10 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So again, a permanent, the other one was permanent blue, this one's permanent Giovanni. And then either one can be used with check unknown, which is the unknown that we already had before this. Remember those three unknowns that were alternate win cons? Anyone remember that? Anyone ever see those cards from the physical TCG? Very few times in the physical TCG have they had cards with alternate win cons, but unknown was one of them. One of them you needed 33 cards in your hand or something like that, and then you instantly won if you had that unknown plus 33 cards in your hand. Pretty funny deck. Probably not great. Wobbuffet. I saw this card. Someone told me about it, and I'm not super impressed. What's that thing on its head? I didn't think it had anything on its head. I thought it was just like round. This Pokemon was damaged by an attack during your opponent's last turn. While it was in the active spot, this attack does 15 more damage. That's a very on-brand Wobbuffet attack. The Wobbuffet's whole thing is that you hit it and then it counters you. 90 damage is 90 HP is really not strong enough for that card effect. I think a lot of things can just not attack this and then kill it if they're like EX mons or something like that. 80 damage for 2 energies is only pretty good. It's not even amazing. And then 30 damage for 2 energies is pretty horrible on a mon that doesn't evolve. Probably not playable. 2 energies is also really annoying if you're forced to leave with it or whatever. But it does kind of... It's okay as an early game wall because the opponent can't easily attack you because you just reply strongly if they ever do. Girafarig? I mean, it is a Gen 2 mon, but it's funny seeing it here. 3 energies is horrible. 50 damage for 3 energies is really, really bad. They made Girafarig like as bad as it is in the games. If Farah Giraffe was here, this would be okay. No, it would still be horrible. This is a terrible, terrible card. I would never run this. Excuse me. Snubble. It's a fairy, so it's a psychic type. That makes sense. Box standard evolving card. 3 energies, kind of pricey. 100 damage is not even... It's kind of good. It's kind of good. I'm not going to say it's horrible. 120 HP is pretty good. But the fact that you're damaging yourself makes it a lot worse. This one's not very good to me. We got Muna. I love Muna. A little bit of extra HP, a little bit of extra retreat cost. Kind of good and bad. All depends on how good Masharna is. 60 damage plus guaranteed sleep. That is quite good. That's actually... 110 HP is decent for a stage 1. 60 HP... I mean, 60 damage for your attack is for 2 energies is actually pretty good. When you consider that there's a really good card effect that's going to let you get it off, like, again, about half the time. Unless the opponent has some way to heal sleep, which most decks don't run any kind of, like, healing, status healing. Actually looks playable. We got new Onyx. This should work with Brock. I don't know why you would run this over the other one. I guess the other one retreats for 4 and this one retreats for 3, I think. I could be wrong on that front. I know that it's all colorless, so you could run it in a metal deck, and the other one's needs fighting. Oh, the other one... Is it all fighting? Or is it 1 fighting, 3 colorless? I actually haven't thought about Onyx in a long freaking time. I was talking like it was 1 fighting, 3 colorless. Or 1 fighting, 2 colorless. But if it's all fighting, you would absolutely run this, because I assume this exists to evolve into Steelix. I gotta pull up my game just to take a look. See. No, it wants me to open a pack, but I'm deliberately not opening a pack. Little Onyx. Yeah, it's all fighting. Okay, yeah, you would run this. Brock should still work on it, so you can get energies on it very easily. Um, Brock only works on Onyx. It doesn't work on Steelix, so you have to keep it in Onyx for a while if you're gonna try and Brock it, which is pretty annoying if the opponent plays a red card or something like that and gets rid of your Steelix. Um, Not a good card, but it depends on how good Steelix is. Pseudo Widow, we got another one somehow. This one does 50 damage natively, whereas the other one only does 50 damage if the opponent's an EX card, but the other one attacks for cheaper. The other one has the really amusing ability to one-shot EV with red, but EVEX with red. But apart from that, it's not a particularly notable or great card. It's okay. Being able to get chip shots on EX mons is kind of good, but it's not amazing. Like, most EX mons can just tank repeated Pseudo Widow hits, that's the truth of it. I would never run this. The basic having the 2 retreat cost is kind of annoying. The HP is a little low, and the attack is decent, but for 2 energies you want more. Gligar, it's fine. It all depends on what it evolves into. Gliscor, not great. What, it's colorless? That's the appeal? I don't like it. It's not that good, I don't think. Being able to run a fighting card in non-fighting decks is kind of cool. I don't think there were that many fighting cards that worked like that. Mian Shao comes to mind. Um, but 60 for 2 energies is not amazing. And even with weakness, that's just 80. Which is, better, but not game-changing. Tree cost being low is cool. The HP is not great. Swinub, we got a... I think our previous Swinub was a water type. Now we've got a fighting type Swinub, which is funny because Swinub is neither water nor fighting type. 30 damage for 2 energies is not great. Piloswine, 70 damage for 3 energies is also not great. The HP is a little bit better. Mamoswine, 160 for 4 energies. Okay, 160 is an ass ton. I'm not going to act like that's a small number. That's crazy. That's enough to one-shot almost everything. 20 damage to each of your bench Pokemon is annoying, but not even a big deal if you don't have any bench Pokemon. And it's not like it's going to kill anything unless you do it repeatedly. The main annoying thing it does is set all of your mons up for Cyrus so the opponent can just pull them in. I think the really big killer of this card is the 4 energy cost. It's just way too high. Even if you have like Passimian to get some attacks off and then just pass all the energy to this, which is already a very shaky strat because what if they kill something else before they kill Passimian? Passimian would actually be a much better card if the prize pool wasn't if you didn't need 3 points to win. If you need like 4 or 5 or 6, Passimian would be decent. Yeah, the energy cost of this is simply way too high. So even though every other part of it is playable, the energy cost being that high is not great. 160 is honestly probably overkill in most cases too. Phanpy, one of my favorites. This Pokemon also does 10 damage to itself. I can live with that effect on a 70 HP Mon, and 30 is quite a lot. 30 plus, like, weakness, which this thing is frequently going to be super effective. We got like 3 types weak to fighting. Looks okay to me. Donphan. This is one of our EX cards. This Pokemon has at least 2 extra fighting energies attached to this attack does 60 more damage. They're willing to put 2 different attacks onto EX cards. Most cards only have 1 attack, but EX cards can have 2. So it's really funny that they don't just make like a 50 damage for 1 energy, 110 damage for 3 energies. That being said, I think this card is actually very playable. It's got some purpose as an early game card and some purpose as a late game card. It's got versatility. In the early game, 50 damage for 1 energy is actually extremely good. And in the late game, 110 damage for 3 energies is still playable. It's not amazing, but it's playable. And then that health value is extremely good too. And you can have it be a early game card that becomes a late game card if the opponent just is unable to kill it for whatever reason. 3 retreat cost is pretty annoying, but the versatility this card offers is actually... The fact that it doesn't suffer even if it's in at any stage during the battle makes the high retreat cost much more manageable. This is definitely playable. You could build decks around this. Tyrogue. This is probably the weirdest baby they added. 30 HP, obviously abysmal. The 20 damage is just not enough to kill like almost anything. Like what? You kill a Dynamo on turn one, that's cool. No one runs Dynamo. You kill what? A Elekid on turn one. Like what are we doing here with this? This doesn't evolve into anything. Is this a stage one Hitmontop? No, it's a basic Hitmontop. This is utterly killed by not evolving, I feel. If this evolved into like the Hitmons, it would be playable. If you could just make this not a 30 HP Mon after the first turn. But this attack is so bad after the first turn. That's just the flat out of it. This is only good for being able to attack on turn one. And 20 damage is just really not a big deal when the opponent can potentially immediately kill you and get a point. I don't know. This, to me, maybe this does something, but to me this looks horrible. Hitmontop. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. Okay, so it's doing 20 to the target and 20 to one of the benched. That's decent. It's like Lopunny does exactly this, but Lopunny has to evolve, and this just does it for as a basic. The HP is decent too. This is playable. This just sets up. What's that? Pheromosa does that too. This just sets up Cyrus, and gets chip shots on stuff, so you can squish it up so that you can one shot it later on. Playable. We got a fighting type Larvitar. Wait, we already have one of those. Yeah, I understand now. It's funny that they did that. Um, I already knew what's the Tyranitar was dark type, but we still have the fighting type Larvitar and Pupitar. But they're colorless, so you can evolve into a Darkmon, so you can run in a Dark Dex. That's really funny. That's actually how it works in game. If you don't know, Larvitar and Pupitar are both rock ground types. A lot of people think they're dark types, or at least they think like Pupitar or something's a dark type, but no, they're like Geodude. Um, that's not a great card. This one has guard press, so it does damage anyway. Minus 30. That's actually a decent number. The 80 HP with the minus 30 effect is pretty decent. But I've already seen the Tyranitar and it pairs. It's a pretty cool card. Is it good? I have no idea, but is it cool? Yes. I guess we'll scroll down and find the Tyranitar just so we can look at it. I didn't do that with any of the other cross-type evolutions, but I'll do it with this one. Here's the Tyranitar. Once during your turn, you may move all dark energies from each of your Pokemon to this Pokemon. So it doesn't look like you have a choice on how many to take. You're just taking all of them. That's an expensive attack, but with that ability, you actually have quite a lot of versatility. But it's only gonna work in the late game. If you have a Mon that just has some energies on it that dies, that sets you really far back with this card. 130 damage is awesome, and then being able to get something to retreat into this, and then instantly be ready to attack with it is awesome. Like this can have no energies and then be ready to attack the next turn. So you can very easily keep it benched and then only bring it in when it's ready to clean house. It gets a lot of points for that. Binacle. Flip 2 coins to 30 damage for each heads. That's it's 2 energies. If that was 1 energy, it'd be pretty good. We're averaging 30 damage for 2 energies, which is just not an amazing number. 80 HP is good for basic though. 2 retreat cost is really annoying. There we go. It took a little while to load for whatever reason. 120 HP is good for a stage 1. 70 damage for 3 energies is not good. These things Slash is doing the same damage for 2. And it retreats cheaper. Less HP though. Not impressed with this card. Got a new Zubat. The other Zubat was either 10 damage or 20 damage, depending on whether you ran the Darkness one or the normal one. But they were all attacking for 1 energy, and they were all 50 HP. So this is probably the new best one, which is cool. Golbat. We had a 30 damage or a 40 damage one, and I think their HP values were different. They were also attacking for 1 energy. This one is better than the 30 damage one, but probably it's a toss-up with the 40 damage one. That card art is very freaking ugly. Zubat looks quite cute. I like when Zubat's got his little wings folded like this. It looks really cute and funny. But when it's spread, it's got a nice little. I don't know. It's a cool mon. I don't like these. I don't like this Golbat at all. It's ugly. Combat EX 170 HP is quite a lot. It's like Beedrill. 1 energy for 70 damage is like Beedrill, but it's actually 80 damage because of the poison effect. This looks like a really obnoxious early game card. To have this much HP by turn 3, and then be doing 70 damage by turn 3, and then also the poison effect. Um, Potentially setting up this is a mon you could easily go into and away from in Venoshock decks, I feel. Like you could have this guy being inflicting the poison on stuff, and then you know, be able to just spend the 1 energy you put on it to retreat out into whatever's ready to Venoshock. This allows you to easily get energies into other things because this activates so quickly and then doesn't need any more. Looks good. Spinnerack, but it's a dark card. Oh, I love Spinnerack's model so much. It's like a 3D thing on a 2D plane, it almost looks like. Box standard evolving mon. Ariados is what I've always said, but now I'm second guessing whether that's how it's pronounced. It's one of those no retreat Pokemon. It looks better than Sableye. It's stronger, but not amazing. 40 damage just isn't that much. It's good if you're hitting a Psychic type or something, I guess. Umbreon EX. This one's quite fun. It's an infinite use Cyrus. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has damage on it to the active spot. So exactly like Cyrus, but you can just do it as an ability. But you have to be active, same as the Espeon. The attack is okay. It's another evolution, so you can use it with Eevee Bag. So you can do 90 or 100 with Darkness Fang. Being able to sire something in and do 100 damage to it's very powerful. Even 80 is very powerful. You can pair this with Greninja. And use it in an all-dark deck or a dark water deck. Probably all-dark is better. I was going to say you could use it with Golbat, which you could. But I was picturing the other Golbat. And it's not so impressive. I don't know. Looks good to me. This pairs with a lot of existing dark cards, I feel. Murkrow reveals a random card from their hand, shuffles it into their deck. If this did any damage at all, it would be pretty good. It's still pretty good. It's obnoxious. It's an obnoxious card. You basically ruin your opponent's draw effect. Obviously, if you reveal a card that they didn't want to discard, they were about to use, for example, if they started with 2 Professor Oaks and then you like astonish one of them back into their hand, that's very valuable. But even if you make them discard a card they didn't want to use, they don't care about having yet, there's a possibility they're going to then draw that card again and just not get a turn draw. This card effect is very good. And they made it even better because I know there's a tool based around it later on. And that tool looks very, very strong to me. Honchkrow. Dark Cutter. Not an amazing card. The HP is pretty damn good. 60 damage for 2 energies is not amazing. 2 retreat cost is not great. I'd rather run the other Honchkrow. The other Honchkrow is hitting any mon for 50 damage, I think, for 2 energies. That's more valuable to me than 60 damage to the active mon. I would probably run the Sneasel over the other Sneasel we have. The other Sneasel's the same thing, but it flips 2 coins, and this one doesn't flip any. I think the other one's probably actually better. We got regular Weavile doing slash for 50, like Primeape, like Island Primeape. Good card. Probably not amazing, probably not meta-defining, but that one new item that works on Darkmons, we'll see it. Houndour. Looks bad. The other Houndour we had was Fire-type. This is a Dark-type one. It's kind of cool. But 2 energies is annoying on a mon that only has 60 HP. Houndoom. Discard a random Oh, it's a discard effect. So usually they say, like, put it back into the deck or, like, something like that. Discard is quite rare. There's, like, Persian that does this. Very few cards in this game force your opponent to discard cards. And that's a really strong effect in a game where you only have 20 cards. If you get the opponent to discard something like an evolutionary card or whatever, that can just be insanely disruptive. I think, what's his name? Crocodile needed 3 energies and had a discarding effect. And it was better than this one. This is probably a playable card. It's probably not a playable card. It's probably just kind of memes. But I think that card effect is very good. It's just the attack is kind of pricey. You're only going to be able to get it off in the mid to late game. Interesting, though. There's the Tyranitar we already looked at. Absol, we got another one. No, we've got like 3. So that goes 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. That's quite good. The fact that it doesn't hit the active mon, and the fact that it has a retreat cost is annoying. It's just Hitmonlee. This is just straight up Hitmonlee. They made a dark type Hitmonlee. That pairs nicely with drumroll, please. Umbreon. That thing gets damaged, and then Umbreon pulls them in, right? I don't know. I see some synergy. Here's Fortress. We finally found it. Shell Crash, 80 damage for 3 energies. That's really not great. So what? Pineco was 2 energies, and this one's 3. Yeah, and there's no like ability reducing damage or anything like that. Steelix, 1 metal, 3 colorless. That means your rocks are contributing to this thing's attack cost, which is nice. Definitely good there. 4 retreat cost is horrible. 150 HP is really great. 110 damage is quite good. If Brock didn't exist, this would be unplayable. But because Brock exists, this is playable. I wouldn't call it good, but it's playable. I know there's also a card that makes it so it takes less damage. The problem is, again, that if you want to use that card, it works on Steelix and not Onyx. But if you want to use Brock, it works on Onyx and not Steelix. So you got to be really careful about when you evolve. Probably a playable card, honestly. This is pretty easy to get onto the field. Only a stage 1, and Onyx has an ass ton of HP, so it's probably going to survive until it's ready to evolve. And then uh, with Brock, that attack cost is very reasonable to get. Scizor. People were really talking about this one. If this Pokemon is moved from your bench to the active spot this turn, this does 50 more damage. So it's 50 normally, and then 100 if you just switched in. The very obvious synergy is Solgaleo, because like if you retreat Solgaleo into this, you get 100 damage for 2 energies, and no like damage onto your Solgaleo. But then Solgaleo can then just come back in. You don't even have to retreat this. What else? It's just good in general. Your Solgaleo can die, and this can come in and do 100. Other mons can die. I don't know. I feel like it's not way worse than Skarmory. It takes an extra energy to attack, but it doesn't rely on the tool. It is an evolution card. I was treating it like it was a basic. Still looks pretty good to me. Doesn't look amazing, but it looks pretty good. Definitely looks playable. It's a nice little support mon for metal decks. Skarmory EX. I think Skarmory is one of the most iconic Gen 2 mons, so I understand why they made an EX out of it. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes minus 20 damage from attacks. So it's a 140 HP basic, which is quite a lot. And then 2 energies for 70 damage is definitely quite decent. And then the damage mitigation effect is quite good. Plus, there's Jasmine that we'll see later on. That reduces the damage by 50 for 1 turn. So like a way, way, way better blue. And then it stacks on with this attack. So you can be taking minus 70 damage. This mon is going to have a lot of survivability. It's going to do nothing for the first turn it's out. But then once it's attacking with Steel Wings, you can't ignore 70 damage per turn. And then it might take a really long time to kill just because of all the damage mitigation. Definitely looks like a playable card. Definitely looks like you can build a deck around it. It's one of those. We got a new Mawile. It's probably the best one yet, and that's not saying much. It's just the It's probably worse than a Farfetch'd. The extra 10 HP is good. Losing 10 damage is bad. It's competitive with Farfetch'd. Being Metal type is not amazingly useful. It's kind of useful. You hit Fairy types and Ice types, of which there are not much of either. I don't know. Mawile's had a lot of chances. I'm not too impressed. Vice Grip spelled correctly. Bog Standard Evolving Mon. Gear Cutter. On Mons that have 2 energy attack costs, I prefer if they have 90 health. 80 just occasionally just gets killed. Looks playable. During your next turn, this Pokemon's Gear Spinner does plus 70 damage. Okay, so this is like a Togekiss. 70 for the first attack is not amazing for 3 energies, but 140 on all subsequent attacks is definitely playable. It's definitely good. You could include this in decks. This is good enough. We're into normal. Spearow, Glide for 10. Not amazing, not so impressive. Has retreat cost. One of the early Spearow cards in the tabletop had 0 retreat. It was kind of good in the early stages of the match. Peck Bugs. If the opponent attacked the Pokemon as a grass Pokemon, this attack does 40 more damage. This is not playable except in grass. 70 damage for 1 energy on a stage 1 is pretty good against grass. But if you're fighting anything else, I'm just not impressed at all. Grass was not common last expansion. It wasn't super rare. I don't know how common it's going to be in this one. We got a new Chansey. Oh my god, the continuing trend of Chansey being extremely cute. We got Scrunch Chansey. This was the attack that the original Chansey knew in the original TCG. Scrunch. Flip a coin if heads during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage. I think that's the same as the Chansey from the original TCG. Base set Chansey. What a cutie. What a little cutie. It's funny to think about base set. The highest HP any card had in that was 120, and it was Chansey tied for it. I think Charizard also had 120, and then Snorlax. I think they had the highest HP of any cards. Funny to think about that now. 150 HP on Blissey. You would think it would be higher. I was waiting for them to add Blissey so they could have finally a mom with 200 health, and this isn't it. 20 more damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon. So what? It's like a Ho-Oh ally? Is that what you're trying to tell me? So the base damage is not 20. It's just a lie. It's 20. It's 80 damage. As soon as you can use it, it's doing 80. 80 for 3 energies is actually not horrible. It's not great. It's not horrible. But then if you have, every extra energy after that, it continues to ramp. Are you going to be able to get 4, 5, 6 energies onto it? Probably not. This actually does look like a good ally for Ho-Oh. I was joking, but like 80 damage right out the gate for a 150 HP Mon that presumably has full HP because you got Ho-Oh out first. And then 2 Ho-Ohs is doing 160, right? 6 energies plus 20. No, that sounds wrong. It's doing 140. Yeah. 140 for I don't know. That seems doable. And plus, once Ho-Oh dies, you get to put another energy on this before you attack. So 7 energies on this, and it's doing 160 or whatever. That's a lot of damage. This actually looks playable alongside Ho-Oh. I looked at this card and I immediately decided it must be bad. But there's another card that seems to actually ramp it effectively, so maybe there's hope for it. Running Blissey in your Ho-Oh deck. I think Ho will power up many other things before you think about running Blissey. Kangaskhan, Crosscut. The opponent attacked the Pokemon as an evolution Pokemon. This does 40 more damage. That's actually quite decent. This is a new Arita friend. 100 HP is good enough that Arita can save it. 20 damage for 1 energy means you can attack right out the gate, and it's going to be fine against little evolution Pokemon, or basics. And then 60 for 1 energy on evolution cards is actually pretty good. This doesn't exist to kill anything. This just exists to, I guess, kind of stall and make them afraid to evolve. And then you can potentially just Arita it once, The 3 retreat cost is kind of it's misleading because Arita's just going to get it off the field, and then you can immediately go into something else. This looks like a good card to me. Pays for its own energy and then has time to set up energy on other things, and then also whittles down whatever's in front of it. Probably not amazing, but better than the other Kangaskhan, which was legitimately used in Arita decks. Find a friend, Eevee. Put a random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. I'd probably rather have the collect one, but this one is about as good as that one. They're very close. It just depends on what you're trying to do and what your deck construction is like. If you're running like Solgaleo deck with this or something like that, this is probably good. You'd probably rather have this. If you're going to run Sylveon Solgaleo, which is a very legitimate deck, you'd probably have this EV. And then, it can either draw the Solgaleo pieces or it can draw Sylveon, which allows you to draw out your deck really fast. And then Solgaleo comes in and stomps. Very good EV card. I thought that the Collect EV would just be the Eternal EV that everyone would run, but actually this one is about as good as that one. Porygon. Standard Evolving Basic. I feel like we have a Porygon that's this. I thought this was our second Porygon, and our first Porygon was the one with like Sharpen or whatever. Or Check. It had Check. It had something like that. It looked at the cards on either looked at the next card that you drew. Something like that. Alright, I'm pulling up my thing because I really feel like this is exactly like the Porygon we already had. Porygon. This is a rare instance of a card that's just exactly the same. This might be the first time this has ever happened. I'm not aware of another time. This is just identical to the Beam Porygon. 60 HP, 20 damage, weakness to fighting, retreat cost 1. Wow. That's quite novel. The first true duplicate. Porygon 2. Whenever you attach an energy from your energy zone to this Pokemon, put a random card from your deck that evolves from this Pokemon onto this Pokemon to evolve it. Wow. Interesting. Nothing about this suggests that it doesn't work on turn 2. So this seems to suggest this Mon could just evolve on turn 2. So if we have a Porygon Z that can attack with 2 energies, that sounds pretty good. Because that basically means it doesn't need a rare candy. And it also helps you draw out your deck a little faster. Because it's not, you know. I don't know, I'm impressed. Wait, this is Porygon 2. I'm high. This already can't exist on turn 2. But it can allow for a Porygon Z on turn 4, right? So you evolve your Porygon on turn 3 or 4, and then you put your energy on it now, and then it becomes a Porygon Z with either 1 or 2 energies depending on turn 3 or turn 4. So let's look at Porygon Z. 2 energies. So if you go first energy onto Porygon, or if you go second rather, first energy onto Porygon on turn 2, and then turn 3, whatever. Turn 4, evolve the Porygon 2, energy on it, and then it's already a Porygon Z before you even attack. During your opponent's next turn, attacks used by the defending Pokemon cost 1. I mean, it's just a rare candy for free at the end of the day. It's a rare candy without needing to have a rare candy. Kind of interesting. That attack effect is actually really good. I can't lie. And then this is functionally a stage 1 because of that cool Porygon 2 in the middle there. Quite good, quite good. The HP is a little low. I can see this being playable though. A lot of people really like using the other Porygon Z. It's not a particularly good card, but it's got a really interesting effect and people like it. Sentret, classic Gen 2 Mon right here. Scratch. Sure. Furret, everyone's favorite. Probably the most beloved Gen 2 Mon nowadays. Tails Smash. Flip a coin if Tails' this attack does nothing. Medicham had this exact attack. Well, it's not horrible. Being able to instantly kill something is kind of cool. Insomnia. Can't be asleep. You know, it's better than not having an ability. It's very unimpressive, though. I know my opponent's going to bring a sleep deck, so I will run Hoothoot to counter it. Oh, this is like I pictured Fearow immediately. Flip a coin if Tails' this deck does nothing. Oh, you don't even get the damage if you get Tails. That's annoying. Good for Will, I guess. Another Will friend. If heads during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. Oh, the Drampa would really appreciate the Will. Then we have a Drampa that paralyzed on 2 energies or something like that, but then did nothing if you got Tails. That Drampa would be really good with Will. That's a really good card effect. I'm not gonna act like it's bad. 3 energies is really expensive though. Probably not a good card. Probably not playable. A new Apom. I think this is like our 3rd one. Draw cards until you have the same number of cards in your hand as your opponent. Oh, it's a new Chatot, but it's better than Chatot because it evolves. So that's actually pretty awesome. Draw effects are usually pretty good. Chatot was definitely used before. So having an Apom that has Chatot's effect and evolves is actually pretty crazy. The evolution is just a worse Ninetales. I mean, not Ninetales, Rapidash. Because it's colorless, so it can be super effective to stuff. Playable. The thing is, the fact that this even exists is very valuable, just so that your Apom doesn't only exist to draw. It can become an attacker, eventually. 50 HP is kind of bad, though. I think Chatot had 60. Dunsparce, very beloved Pokemon. Paralysis effect on 1 energy. This is probably just better than Dedenne, especially because it's colorless. You can run it in any deck. The whole point of paralysis is stalling, I guess. It's like it allows you to kind of double up your damage if you're, lucky and you get your heads. But double 20 is still not very strong. You need to get a lot of heads before you can actually kill something with this. Probably not super impressive. Teddy Ursa, heal 20 damage from this Pokemon. I'd rather have an attack. Ursa Ring, flip 2 coins, does 20 more damage for each heads. Okay, I kind of like that. 3 energies is a bit pricey for that attack, but 80 damage for 3 energies is acceptable, and 100 damage for 3 energies is decent. It's quite good. 60 damage for 3 is weak, though. But I like that we have a high baseline here. I prefer the pluses to the timeses, if you know what I mean. I would rather add than multiply. Stantler, it's a Gen 2 Mon. Do we have every single Gen 2 Mon represented? I feel like I've seen damn close to all of them. This Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached that does 50 more damage. That's actually quite good. I'm not gonna. That's actually really nice. 20 damage for 2 energies is obviously terrible, but 70 damage for 2 energies on a basic is pretty good. Workable, playable. Smeargle. Change the type of a random energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon to one of the following at random. So there's a good chance this just prevents your opponent from attacking or forces them to attach a new energy. The problem is if they have any colorless in their attack cost, then they can still attack. And if they have, even if you use it again, you might just change the energy that you already changed a second time. So this is only really good against mons that have all of a specific type in order to attack. Lugia, one of our EXs. That effect is crazy good. Or, I mean, that effect is crazy bad. That damage is crazy good. 180 is insane. Discarding 3 energies is horrible, and requiring 3 energies is horrible. Technically speaking, you could run this. If you're going to run Ho-Lugia, I guess you just would run all 3 energies as the draw energies, because Ho doesn't care, and Lugia has a possibility of attacking without Ho's help if you do that. But it's just very likely you're going to draw at least 1 duplicate, two fire and 1 water or something like that. 2 fire, 1 electric, no water. You're probably going to have to get quite a few energies before this thing's ready to attack if you build it up organically, which is just not feasible. So this basically only exists as an ally to Ho-Oh. But it sure does exist as a good ally to Ho-Oh. And then I think there's that new tool. There's like a energy light or something like that works with this, but I don't remember what it does, so I got to look at it. The thing about Ho-Oh is that if it gets multiple attacks off, which is very likely to do, that gives you multiple charges for Elemental Blast here. That'll allow you to get like I just remember Crocodile discards energies, doesn't it? It doesn't discard cards. I thought about that way later. Yeah, if your Ho gets 2 attacks off, this guy gets to do 2 180s, which is pretty freaking powerful. And if your Ho got 2 attacks off, that means it did 160 damage itself, so good odds you're going to kill 3 things even if there's no EXs in play. Looks like a good card to me. It's very reliant on its allies. It's a basic, so you might be forced to lead with it, and it's 2 retreat cost, which is really annoying. We only had the Magby attaching energies, right? I don't even remember if the Magby said it could only attach to fire. Bouffalant. Flip a coin until you get tails to stack those 70 damage for each heads. This is like a Alolan Dugtrio. The non-EX one. But it costs more energy. I don't like it. Here we go. Elemental Switch. Move a fire, water, or electric energy from one of your bench Pokemon to the active Pokemon. Okay, that doesn't give you energies. I thought it did for some reason. So if you don't draw the right energies, Lugia still can't attack. I can see this being used in those decks. Obviously, you can use it in the Ho deck, but like you could just use it in just a pure fire deck if you want to. There's nothing saying you shouldn't. It's like a Dawn that you can use infinitely, but only for these types. And when I say infinitely, I mean twice, because you can only have 2 of them in your deck. And it doesn't consume your supporter, which Dawn did. So this is just a flat improvement to Dawn, but only on these types. And it, I don't know, that looks pretty nice to me. I can see this being used quite a lot, depending on the deck. Like, this is a Galvantula. It was very annoying if you could steal energies from your allies. Looks good. I don't know. I can't think of what the synergy is, but it looks good. This one's goofy. Discard off fire energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. That is literally. I guess you could run it on metal or grass because they're just both weak to fire, so it like makes your bad matchup a lot better. I would never run this. It's too specific. It's just not going to help you the vast majority of the time. It does. It would be really hilarious if the opponent went out to Lugia and you squirt bottled their Lugia. He likes to read their Lugia, and then squirt bottled it, and now it doesn't have a fire energy anymore. Um, but yeah, it doesn't look too impressive. I'll put it like that. I would never run this. It's funny that it exists, but I would never run it. This one looks really good. We got a new tool. The metal Pokemon this card is attached to takes -10 damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon, recovers from all special conditions, and can't be affected by special conditions. Immunity to special conditions is extremely good. Um, and then a lot of mons just become terrible. A lot of mons are good by merit of their special condition, and then once the special condition is gone, they're just really mediocre. Um, like Wheezing. Uh, and then a permanent blue is kind of great. You know? Was blue 10 or was it 20? I don't remember if it was -10 or -20. A permanent damage reduction is extremely good because a lot of metal cards already have damage reductions, and this stacks on with it. Like, this works on the Skarmory EX, which already is taking -20 damage as soon as it can start attacking. So it's taking -30. And then also you have that one Jasmine card we'll be seeing in a second here. This card looks bonkers to me. This is a must include. This is going to be better than a cape the vast majority of the time in metal decks. You should just run this as your main Pokemon tool in metal decks from here on out, I think. Dark Pendant. This one looks bonkers. If the dark Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot, is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, the opponent reveals a random card from their hand and shuffles it into their deck. This is an absurdly good effect. This is going to make Guzma like much more popular just because of how good this effect is. First of all, it's infinite use until your Pokemon dies because it's a tool. It doesn't go away. There's nothing stipulating it must be discarded. Second of all, if you remove the opponent's useful card, that's obviously valuable. You can take away their Sabrina or their Cyrus or whatever, or their evolution card. And then even if you take away something that's useless, the opponent has a chance now of drawing it instead of what they wanted. So you shuffle. By eliminating turn draws, it makes it much harder for the opponent to really start getting some momentum going. This is a very disruptive card, and this is a must include for all dark decks going forward, I think. This one looks really good. The only thing I would consider is if it's a Venoshock deck, you would still run the Barb, because the Barb is so powerful. Rescue Scarf. I can see this being used in very particular decks. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put it in your hand instead of the discard pile. If you've got one of those decks that has very few basics, like, only 2 Gibbles and nothing else, or like only Charmander, or only Litten, if you got just a very small number of basics, this allows you to use the same basics again. You could also use it in Wishy-Washy decks to get your Wishy-Washis back, I guess. Wishy-Washy was never a good card, though. Definitely some fringe uses of this. I don't think it's going to be super popular, but I think that it's nice. Sometimes I was playing a game just recently where I went first and my opponent set up a lot faster than I did, and I was running Ralts Gallade, and I kind of bricked at the start. I drew a Ralts and nothing else, and then I drew another Ralts, so I just put this second Ralts in the back, and I just attached an energy to it, and I just allowed his Leafeon to kill my Ralts in the front, which had no energies. And then later on, I had my, I was attacking with my Gallade, and it was going to die, and it was like, wow, it'd be really nice if I had my other Ralts, since I have my, Kirlia, and I have the energy to retreat, and I have my Kirlia and my Gallade, in my hand, but they can't evolve, because I already have one Gallade out, and the other one, the Ralts died. Stuff like that. Situations, it could be really helpful. A lot of your deck is just invalidated if you lose a basic too early, is what I'm trying to say. Here's Will. Next time you flip any number of coins for the effect of an attack ability or trainer card, after using this card on this turn, the first flip will always be heads. Inherently very powerful on specific cards, we'll have to see which ones. I've been talking about it for the whole video, though, so let's just wait for them. Lyra. Switch your active Pokemon that has damage on it with one of your bench Pokemon. So this is like a Rita, but worse, but it's kind of better because it works on things that aren't normal types. That's very useful. kind of like a counter Cyrus. It's like, oh, you Cyrused me. I'm just gonna uncyrus. Cyrus and Lyra are opposites. Okay, just take my word for it. It makes sense in my head. Um, Pretty good. It enables you to bypass retreat costs to allow you to easily save mons. So it's kind of better than a leaf, but kind of worse as well. Depends on what you're trying to do. Very interesting. Probably might slot its way into decks going forward. We have so many useful supporters now. It's really difficult to choose what to run. Like I already want a Sabrina, a Cyrus, and a Guzma in like every deck I make. And of course, Leaf is useful everywhere too. And I'm a big fan of Dawn. Your opponent reveals their hand. Choose the supporter card you find there, a supporter card, and shuffle it into your opponent's deck. So you get to take whatever supporter you don't want to see and just make it go away. Potentially very useful to keep yourself safe against Cyrus or Sabrina, but imagine if you look at your opponent's hand and uh, they have two Cyruses or two Sabrinas. A little side effect of this card is that you get to see your opponent's hand, which I guess could be useful. Yeah, it lets you decide whether you want to play your red card or not, you know? That's got some value. I'm not going to say that's useless. Interesting. We got Fisher. This is like a new ally for wishy-washy decks, and the Gyarados is really the key. It helps the Gyarados a lot. Flip 3 coins for each head, so water Pokemon is chosen random from your discard pile and put into your hand. You don't get to choose what, but chances are you'll get the only things you've discarded, because the only way you discard cards is if they die. So probably there's only like one or two Mons in there. Be annoying if you only get one heads and you're relying on one specific Mon, you get the other one, but whatever. Definitely a playable card in Gyarados decks, and Gyarados looks playable, so I would run those two together. Jasmine, Steelix, or Skarmory takes minus 50 damage for one turn. I don't think I brought that up when I was talking about Steelix, but I definitely talked about it during Skarmory. Very good effect. Hiker. For each of your fighting type Pokemon in play, look at that many cards from the top of your deck and put them back in any order. So you can only have 4 fighting Pokemon in play, right? It doesn't count your hand. It counts only the active and bench. So being able to rearrange up to 4 cards has some value. Being able to get what you want immediately. Fighting, I feel like fighting often draws out their deck, but it's just like so slow with the energies. I think this isn't fighting's weakness, so I don't think it's probably going to be that good. And that's it. That's all the new cards. So let's just look at the rare art. That's a House Chikorita right there. It's got a ball that it plays with. What is that? It's a lemon. It's like a citrus berry or something. I don't remember what the yellow one is. I think it's a citrus berry. A lot of leaves. Very leafy house. We got the tea. That's nice. Blossom. Damn cute card art. That's really nice. Heracross. He's like mid throwing something, I guess. He like pulled up some dirt and he's tossing it. I don't know. It's male Heracross. Doesn't have the heart. Oh, he's like flying too. I guess he's hauling something around. He like picks something up and now he's flying around with it. Must be a pretty strong little bug. Cyndaquil, also making tea. Will Totodile also have tea in his shot? That's the real question. I think it will. Very nice, quaint Japanese style house. I like it. Magby, taking a nap. Reminds me of that one Pokemon Snap stage. Totodile, he is the tea. He's the tea. Very cute picture. All 3 of them are in like Japanese style homes, looks like. Very cool. Very traditional. I guess they're supposed to be Johto homes, right? All the house design in Johto was very Japanesey. That's the thing. Very old-fashioned Japanese. Very traditional. Which one is me? The front one? This one? Is that me? I don't know. It's cute in a kind of ugly way, which is already how Quillfish was, so it works. Rare footage of Octillery doing its little. Is that Octazooka? It's shooting ink, but I don't know if that's what Octazooka is. Remember how Sableye had Octazooka? Isn't that weird? If you didn't know that, it's a fun little fact. Sableye can legally learn Octazooka because of an event Sableye that was released years ago. Oh, I didn't even look at the Mantine in the front there in the foreground. That's funny. Cute card art, I guess. Delibird. That's a Pechaberry, I think. I don't know about these ones, the grapes. If I really thought about it, I could probably figure out which like anagram for grape they used or whatever. I don't even know if those are grapes or what. Looks like a raspberry, really. Whatever. Pichu taking a nap. We got what's looks like a fake mess hold, but mess hold looks fake already, so maybe it's a real mess hold. Or a tenant mouse, rather. And we have that little Arboliva, and a Lunatone, and that's all I can detect, plus the, whatever, the ducklet. I like the Lunatone pillow. I wish I had that. It's quite cute. You and your stuffed toys and your pet Pichu. Oh, that is beautiful. Oh, I love this. Oh, make a wish, Ampharos. Oh, how cute. If I get this, I'll play it. I love the Togepi. This one was leaked early. Or I made it revealed. It might have just been revealed. I don't remember. It looks cute. Probably run the other Togepi. This Zatu is pretty great. Very colorful. Very nice colors. Look at him. Zen mode. They should have given Zen mode to this. Very cool. Wobbuffet. I don't know what he's in. Is it like a children's playground thing? Sure seems to be. Gligar, I suppose, can fly, right? It's a flying type. I kind of always pictured it gliding. I don't know if it can truly fly. I gotta read my Pokedex entries so I can find out. Honchkrow and Murkrow is pretty interesting. Are they weak to fighting? This guy could frick him up if he wanted to. They look nervous, so whatever. Spinarak, pretty sick art. The face on full display is pretty great. I can't lie. A little hard to parse what's going on in this one. It looks almost like two different pictures that got spliced together, but I can't tell. Maybe it is two different pictures. It's like a comic. It's like two Murkrows landing next to each other, and then like fighting in the sky or something. I can't tell. My eyes can't parse this. Tyranitar clearing a path. Is someone making him do it, or is he just doing it because he wants to? I can't tell if this is a Tyranitar with a job or not. It's pretty cool. Very colorful again. Scizor looking badass. I guess. I don't know. It looks kind of goofy. Its big lobster claws are not very scary, but the rest of it looks pretty cool. Fucking Centric gets a full art card. Sure is great. I'm glad that they don't just make full art cards for like good mons. They make them for silly mons too. Some mons are just more presentable than others. Hoot is very presentable, even though it's always been extremely mediocre. It doesn't sleep, so it'll always wake you up at the right time and never overstay its. It'll never oversleep itself. So it's 5 a.m. right now, maybe 5 p.m. We'll never know. Pretty cool looking little guy. Nice house. It's Stantler. It's drawn in like a very traditional style Japanese way. Well, the rest of the picture is not so much the Stantler. But Stantler looks so stupid. That is great art of Smeargle. I freaking love Smeargle. It's one of my favorite mons. It's just cute. Dog with a paintbrush. I love it. We got a Blissey in like a field drying clothes. Is the Blissey drying clothes, or is it just here? I would be really annoyed if I was hanging up clothes and or sheets, I guess, and the Blissey kept on following me around. I don't know. Cute little thing. We got the full arts, so we can really count the EXs now. So that's a nice color blue. The Ho looks pretty sick. I don't love that yellow. It's kind of good. Gold is fitting for a dragon. This kind of green is kind of cool. Oh, that one's nice. That one really coordinates. I like Donphan. It's kind of funny seeing its mouth like this. Huge fan of Crobat. Funny little guy. Umbreon looking pretty spooky. Kind of unpleasant color green for Skarmory. The Lugia looks great. Oh, the black and white. Oh, I love that. That's great. Alright, so what are we looking at here? 1, 2, 3, should be 10, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 5 per pack. Full art Will. He's cool, right? He's cool. Full art Lyra. She's very beloved. I never had a strong opinion on her. She's a Heart Gold Soul Silver girl. Silver, he's cool. If you want some fun Pokemon lore, this is Giovanni's son. That was actually not established anywhere in Gold and Silver, and I think it wasn't officially revealed until Heart Gold Soul Silver. Only if you got the event Celebi from like GameStop or whatever it was. It activated a secret scene that let you see the past and see Giovanni. Um, it was hinted in Gen 3 because in the Seven Islands, on one of the islands over there, there was an NPC who was like, "Hey, you're not Giovanni's kid, are you? Giovanni's kid has red hair." And then, like, eventually confirmed in Heart Gold Soul Silver unlockable event to be silver. But everyone already kind of knew it was silver before that. Fisher. It's so funny that we've got all these NPCs and then we've got literally the fisherman. To be fair, this is a class that's been in every Pokemon game, I think. When are we gonna have Hex Maniac? That's what I want to know. Jasmine, she looks good. She's got a really weird gym. No puzzles, nothing. Just like I guess the tower is the puzzle. Um, I don't know. It's just her. No other trainers. The hiker. Hey, this is another guy who's been in just about every game. So I'm glad he finally got some recognition. All right, the rainbows. What are they doing? Oh, they're making berry juice. I get it. Yeah, you put the berry into the shuckle. The shuckle spits out berry juice. It's a little cursed, but it's probably tasty. Kingdra looks supremely badass. Um, Interesting art for Lantern. Very pretty. I'll probably never get that card. Why are there so many good rainbow cards for the evolutions? Every single evolution rainbow is so good. Flareon's is probably the worst, and it's still awesome. I love the rainbow Sylveon. I love the rainbow Leafeon and Glaceon. And I bet in 2 seconds I'm going to love the Umbreon. Donphan doing work. These are Donphan with jobs. No doubt in my mind. Look, the bags, they didn't put those. That's not his stuff. That's his trainer's stuff. Cute. Cute little work animal. Oh, the Phanpy has something too. He's got like a little plant. They're working together to plant a forest. That's so cool. Freaking sick Crobat. I will do everything in my power to get this card, and then I'll play exclusively Dark in this expansion if I get one of those. Umbreon looks sick too. Damn it, it's very frustrating. They keep on making sick rainbow cards for these guys. What, it's mid-flight? I mean, I knew Skarmory could fly. It flies in its 3D model. Cool little thing. Interesting environment. Very beautiful. I like that sunset over there, sunrise or whatever. This one has gained quite a lot of notoriety because apparently it's traced. We'll see how that unfolds in the coming days. But apparently there's fan art from 2021 of this from a fan, not from a Creatures Inc. employee. And yeah, this card art seems to use an exact tracing or a near exact tracing of that fan art. So like someone might get into a hell of a lot of trouble pretty soon. We'll find out. It's good. It's good art though. I hope the guy gets credit. I hope he gets to sue Creatures Inc. and gets a lot of money or something. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Probably deep underwater. Probably in I almost said Seafoam Island, but that's not it, is it? I don't remember, like Whirlpool, something. I don't remember the name of the island where Lugia is. It's been a while. New shinies, Yanma. I don't remember the last time I saw shiny Yanma. I've seen almost every shiny Pokemon. This almost just looks like regular Flareon. Magikarp being gold is iconic. Red Gyarados is extremely iconic. It's probably the most famous shiny, or it was for a very long time because you get one. Vaporeon. We got the Bubble Drain Vaporeon. Usually with the shinies, they kind of try to have the best one. Oh, it used the Leap Out Magikarp, but it uses the current Gyarados. That's very interesting. See, that's what I'm talking about. It uses cross expansion shinies. So I find it very interesting that this is definitely not the best Vaporeon. I think the one that moves energies around is the best Vaporeon free. So it's funny that this is the one that gets the shiny. Maybe Game Freak knows something I don't. DNA. Not Magnemite. It's the electric one. The colorless one was probably the safest one to use. This is the good Magneton. So it's cool to see him, I guess. Very, very, very good card. Jolteon. It's the beginning Bolt Jolteon. I don't know which of the two is better. They're both just kind of shrug. They both seem like they would be really good, but they're both kind of underwhelming. Miss Drevis. Does that mean Miss Magius is going to have a shiny? Mankey. It's the Focus Fist Mankey. Is that the one they consider to be the best one? Obviously, they can't use the promo one. The Fight Back Mankey. So that's cross-gen as well. This is the Mythical Islands Mankey, and this is the Genetic Apex Primeape. But it's the better version of both of them, arguably. Nidorans? How many of them? All of them? Yeah, all 6 Nidorans represented. People like that Nidoran female's shiny seems to be the Nidoran male coloration. And it would be funny if they went the other way with that. But first of all, Nido Queen shiny is not Nido King. And second of all, Nido Kings is not Nido Queen. Ah, that's kind of close. Pink Sneasel. I always thought this thing's shiny looked kind of bad. It's got a funny face. I really like this card art. This is really good art of Sneasel. Lickitung? Is there a single person that asked for this? It's got a good shiny as they go. The Eevee, it uses the Find a Friend one and not the Collect one. It's Eevee's good. Sick Yanmega. Yes, that's cool. Leafeon? Oh man, you are spoiled for choice for cool Leafeon cards. The Red Gyarados, iconic. Wouldn't be a Gen 2 set without the Red Gyarados. Glaceon, it's pretty good. Doesn't look too shiny, that's what I'm gonna say. Pachirisu EX, I haven't seen someone run this in a long freaking time. It's probably a lot more playable now that it's a lot easier to get early game electric cards like I was gonna say I look at attacks, doesn't it? I thought there was some way you could easily get 2 energies on like turn 3 or whatever. Turn 4, rather. Oh, it always has 2 energies on turn 4. Miss Magius. It's kind of ugly. I think its existing coloration is probably the best one you could possibly have. Is the defect on here? I can't quite tell. It looks like it is. One of the claws has an irregularity to it, where it's narrower than it should be. I think it's there. It's like right here. I think the defect is still there. The 2-star had that. Licking Fury. Gold Ho and presumably Gold Lugia. Yep. And is that it? That's it. We don't have the promo cards, but we can just look at them later. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. It was neat looking at all these new cards. This is my favorite time for each expansion, is getting to record these videos, so I hope you enjoy watching them too.